in the A10. When you first get into a league, you don't necessarily always understand all the ins and outs of a league or what you may need or may not need. And I think we've really tried to look at that as a staff and just really hammer those things down. So I feel great about the length and the athleticism we've been able to add to the roster. Again, I've talked a ton about our versatility because I think that's really important. And really for us, it's just about us keeping working on our chemistry. And I think some of that chemistry will be developed when we get our fans in the building here and we get that first lob dunk or layup in transition, and we can kind of feel that energy. I do feel like our fans give us the opportunity to grow, to help us grow together more. And so we're excited about having the opportunity to get out here and be in front of them. And I think that's a big part of it. If you're a basketball player, you've been hearing the roar of the crowd since you were 6 or 7 years old. And I think that allows the team to grow faster together. And, that's why we're really excited about getting out here with this group and having a chance for our fans to see them and feel that kind of level of excitement with them. And I think our chemistry, which is really good, it's in a great place this year. It wasn't in a great place a year ago, but it's in a great place right now, and we got to keep fighting for that. And I am, and our players are, and they're doing a great job of it so far.
Okay, Jamie, and time for 2 more questions. The next one is from Byron Kerr. Byron, good morning.
Good morning, Drew. Good to see you. Jamie, and good to see you. You look sharp with the suits on. That's one of the advantages of coming back, is we get to see you with your suits on again. That's going to be great, man. Good to see you.
I love it. Great to see you, my friend.
Tell me about the length you have on this team. You've got 8 guys that are 6'7" or taller. Will that kind of change the way that you're going to play a little bit? You got some rim protectors. As you mentioned, the alley oops. How important is it to have guys like Kwanzi, Ira, and Ricky, maybe to change the way you play because you've got so many bigs this year?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that we've been able to add those versatile guys, and I think you're going to really love having a chance to call these games, being able to see these guys and how they sort of operate. And I think, now it's all about versatility, how you have to guard the pick and roll, how you have to be able to guard guys in space. You can't beat a great team like St. Bonaventure or VCU unless you have great versatility. And, we've really tried to identify that. Although we have great size, these guys are really agile, can guard multiple positions and can still rebound the basketball and be able to get out in transition. I think one of the most underrated skills that our team probably has is we have a lot of guys that can handle the basketball. A lot of guys that can dribble pass, and that's going to allow the ball to be able to move quickly and going to allow for guys to get open more easily on the, through a flow of our offense. And I think that's really neat. I mean, adding a guy like Kwanzi Samuels, a guy that can, at 6'9", 6'8", who can handle the basketball and lead the break. Ricky Lindow can rebound it and lead the break and get us out pushing and moving. And, Hunter Dean is a guy that I think people have probably, they're going to get the chance to watch him play in transition more because he can handle the basketball and he's a great run and jump athlete. And, he's had some great moments in A10 play through his first 7 games a year ago. And, so we're excited about the growth of him. And then, a guy like Noel Brown, who can be dominant, in the low post and, did that in a short amount of time he was able to play a year ago. He really set the tone defensively for us and is really going to be an outstanding scorer for us as he continues to learn the game. So, when you look at the roster, even a guy like Noel Brown can guard 1 through 5. I mean, he's a tremendous guy, tremendous athlete. So we're just excited about that, building that roster together in a way that we feel like gives us a chance to win every single night in the A10. And, we obviously got to throw the ball, but have a chance to go and do that. But, I can tell you this, I mean, the feeling of how we feel as a staff and anyone that's had a chance to watch us practice and the way the guys feel inside that locker room, we feel like we got an opportunity here to go and really make an impact here because of the athleticism and the length we have on our roster.
Okay, Jamie, and the last question. It comes from Aaron Robinson at All Facts Media. Aaron, go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. My question for you, obviously, James Bishop made a huge jump from his freshman year to his sophomore year, going from averaging 2 points per game to averaging 19 points a game last year. He's the leading scorer returning in the A10 this season. He was left off of the first team all A10 list, which I thought was interesting, seeing that he's the leading scorer coming back in the league. I mean, what are your thoughts on him as far as where he stacks up with the other guards in this conference? And then also, what are you looking for out of him for this season as far as, taking another jump? Maybe his scoring numbers might not be as high, but, what are you looking for out of him this season?
Yeah, great to see you, and it's a great question. When we talk about James Bishop, he's not only a leading scorer coming back, but I think he's second in assists coming back as well. And I think that's really an important number, the assist number. And, one thing, when he came here from LSU, we talked a lot about him playing with the ball in his hands and being able to learn how to create for other people. And he's done an outstanding job of that. I don't think he got enough credit a year ago for how he was able to create for the guys we had on our roster. And he's only gotten better at it. He's an everyday guy. I don't know if people really understand that, he lines up every single day. He puts the time in, every day at about 11 o'clock, he's going to be in here working on his game and doing the stuff he needs to do to be the best he can be. He's one of those coachable players I've ever had. And you don't always get that with a really talented player. And when you talk about being coachable, he's a guy that's going to do whatever the team needs him to do. Whether it's stepping up and trying to defend the best guy or creating for others, he's going to do that all the time. And so, when I look at it, and, I don't take a whole lot of credence to preseason awards because, no one knows what these guys have been doing in the dark. And I have a chance to know what our guys have been doing in the dark and how hard he's been working and what he's been doing for our team. And, when you're trying to build it into a championship level program, you need players with the right kind of personality, not just to score enough points, but the personality to lead your team with toughness and to lead your team through tough times. And James Bishop has done that from day one when he came in here. He's never made excuses. He's never complained about anything. And he's only made us better culturally day in and day out. And I'm excited for the nation to get a chance to get to know him a little bit this year. And, I think people in basketball circles know how well he can score it. But I don't think they know how great a basketball player he is. And I think they're going to get a chance to see that this year, game in and game out, with the roster that we have around him, but also with how much he's been able to love his improvement and help others be at their very best. And, his energy and his toughness is really something that's going to lead this team. And so when we talk about him being first or second team, I don't know where it is today, but we're going to throw that ball up. And, I know this much. I got one of the best guards in this league, and he's going to have the opportunity every night to go out here and prove that he's the best or one of the best in the country. And, me, I always say if you can be one of the best guards in the A10, then you're one of the best guards in the nation. And I think we have a guy that I get a chance to coach every day that I think can compete on that list every single day, and he's going to get a chance to throw the ball up here and go and show it this season.
Coach, what's up? Adam Finkelstein here in the studio. I can't let you get out of here without asking you a recruiting question.
I love it.
I want to ask you about the geography of your guys, because whether it's out of the high school ranks or the transfer ranks, it seems like there's been a priority to either keep kids at home or bring them back home, give them an opportunity to play in front of the home fans. Has that been a strategy, or has that just kind of evolved organically?
No, that's been a complete strategy. We have one of the best educations in the world here at George Washington. And, I feel like we have almost an obligation to make sure that we're educating those who are going to come back and impact our community here in Washington, D.C. and the DMV area. So that's been a major strategy for us. I just feel like it means more when you're from the area to be playing for the hometown team. And we've just really tried to lock in and be able to do that. And, we've been really fortunate with being able to keep guys at home and bringing guys back. We're also fortunate, Adam, is that we have the best high school basketball in the country right here. And so we know the youth coaches here and what an amazing job they do here. The AU coaches here do an amazing job, and the high school coaches. So we just have this trilogy of excellence all along the basketball corridor here in the DMV. And so it just makes sense for us to try to make sure these guys are staying home and they know they have a place here to play. And we've got a lot of teams in the A10 that recruit in the DMV area, and they do a great job. And we just got to make sure we keep identifying the guys that we know can allow us to be top 4 in this league.
Everybody,
I think we've been able to do that. We're going to always be leaning on that strategy because you look at places like University of Miami when their football program got going, they were all about local guys. Georgetown when they got going with John Thompson, they were all about local guys. So we know this strategy works if you have the ability to execute it. Maybe you can feel the excitement in my voice because I feel like we've done a great job so far of executing it, and now it's just a chance to kind of let this thing play out a little bit and continue to let this excellence continue to cultivate within the DMV and within our roster.
Coach, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Great to see you. Wishing you all the best this upcoming season. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
All right, you got it. Jamie and Christian, head coach for GW, and we heard a bunch about his players there, and James Bishop and Ricky Lindow Jr. You talk about bringing guys home there, right?
Yeah, and I thought he made a terrific point. Most people don't remember that James Bishop, it was a limited season, but he averaged 5 assists per game last year. Everybody talks about the 19 points per game, but he was making plays for himself and others. And again, coming back home, the opportunity to play in front of the home crowd, even though it wasn't a full crowd. Well, let's see what he does this year in front of that crowd, and because opposing teams are going to be game planning for him every single night, so the task is only going to get tougher for Bishop.
Started his career at LSU, and then you have Ricky Lindow Jr., who began his career at Maryland, first year last year at GW for him. So can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table this year.
No doubt. Long and athletic, just what Coach Christian was talking about in terms of increasing the versatility. He can stretch the floor, he can play above the rim. So really the prototype of that positional versatility that you heard Coach Christian really talk about in detail.
And they are joining us now here as the players are getting ready. In just a moment, we will talk to them. Ricky Lindow Jr. and James Bishop coming up for George Washington on the men's side. Then we'll switch over to the women's side as well. Just getting started here for day 1 of 2 in the Atlantic 10 Conference Basketball Media Days. And they are ready to go. So let's see if we can grab them now. Gentlemen, what's going on there? You're hanging out in D.C., getting ready for this season. Let's actually go over to Drew. He's going to field the questions for these two here now. Drew, it's all you.
Gentlemen, good morning. Our first question is from Byron Kerr of the GW Radio Network. Byron, go ahead.
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. James, how important is it to you to have guys like Ricky and a front court? Looks like you got 8 guys that are 6'7" or taller this year. How important will that be to the offense and rim protection on the defense to have so many bigs that are so talented in front of you?
It'll be huge for us. Having guys like Ricky, Hunter, Noel, who are not only 6'7" and above, but can play above the rim, all really can move well in transition. So it's going to be big for us, not only offensive end, but on the defensive end too, being able to protect the rim. A guy like Ricky who can guard multiple positions, so it gives us a lot of versatility.
Ricky, how important is it for you to be able to play a full season without the elaborate COVID restrictions? Do you feel like this is a chance for you to really let loose and play a full 35 games with your new teammates?
I definitely do think it is a great opportunity for me to play a full season with this new team and improve what I can do on the court. So I think it's a great opportunity for me, especially for it being my last year.
Thanks, guys.
Good morning, gentlemen. Daniel Frank from A10 Talk here. Not sure if you all have seen yet the new preseason poll, but you all were picked 13th. How does that motivate you guys heading into this season? Does it affect you all with mindset? Talk a little bit about that.
It doesn't affect me any. I'm not really looking at where we're ranked at in the preseason. I know what we got here in our locker room, so I'm really just focused on us being ready for the first game and being prepared to play.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that, so it doesn't really affect me at all. Just like James said, I know what we have in the locker room, so just come out, be prepared for every game that comes up.
Is it working? Okay. Hi guys. Can you guys talk about a little bit some of the things you've been doing? Some of the things you've been doing to improve your game over the off season, and how that's going to go towards your personal goals for this season.
Just putting in long hours in the gym, individually, but also getting in there with some of my teammates, being able to work out with some of our bigs and create that rapport with them. So I think that'll just come out on the floor, just having a great connection with each other, and then also just improving my individual game, of course, and trying to be better in every area.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same for everybody. Just work on the stuff that you need to work on for the regular season, and then also just get connected with your team better. Half the team's new, so just gotta make sure we get the chemistry right before the season actually starts.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We appreciate it. That's all for George Washington on the men's side. Let's bring in Julianne, and let's start talking about GW women. Pretty exciting for them. New coach, Julianne, I know picked 12th in the league, but what's the excitement around GW on the women's side right now?
I think new coach, Carolyn McCombs. I mean, she comes from Stony Brook. She was just a phenomenal coach there for a number of years, just America East Coach of the Year. She's bringing in that fresh face, new culture. 10 new players on this team, though. It's going to be a lot of implementation of a new system, but I think there's a lot of excitement because the GW women have not really seen a winning program since 2017, Mike. So I think that under this new head coach, you'll see a lot of changes, but I think good changes.
Overall, in the time that you've been covering this group and along with the A10 in general, like How long do you think it kind of takes to get your system in there, to understand, to bring in players? Because we see how many players and where they can come from nowadays, right? The transfer portal, they're freshmen, they've been there, it's a new coach. That's a lot to ask for. How long do you think it's going to take for them to get up to speed and where she wants them to be?
Well, that's a great question, Mike. And I think you always have to give a coach at least 4 years to get your recruits in, because let's face it, you're going to come in and you're going to get recruits from past coaches, but it might not fit to your style. It might not be the type of players that you really want to recruit. So I like to give some wiggle room here for coaches to be able to go out and recruit their own players and get their own system in place. So you really do need to give them at least 4 years.
All right, Coach McCombs is ready now as she joins us here on Atlantic 10 Basketball Media Day. Go ahead, Julianne. You start us off.
Coach McCombs, how's it going? It's great to see you. Julianne Vianney here. It's just good to see you. What's it been like? You're in a new city. You've got a bunch of new players, and you're trying to implement a new culture there at GW.
Well, good morning, and it's great to see you too. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's been an awesome transition. Yes, we're in the nation's capital. It's an awesome university. And so for us, the culture is the most important thing. We are trying to lay the foundation. We are trying to blend the 6 returners that we have with our 10 newcomers. So a lot of new faces that people are going to see this season. We're really excited about it. Everybody's working hard, having fun, and giving our best every day.
Coach McCombs, good morning. I am Drew Dickerson from the A10. Welcome to the league. It's our first chance to meet and see each other. Our first question from the media is coming from Daniel Frank from A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead.
Morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So my question is, what is the one thing that people should know about this GW team that is going to be different from what they've seen from them in the years past?
Sure. I only know, who I am and what we're going to bring, but we're going to be a tough defensive-minded team. We're going to be scrappy. We're really going to get after it. We're going to be exciting in that way. We have to put our hand on something, and that's going to be our defense, something that we know that we can control every day, night in and night out.
Okay, Coach. The next question is from Byron Kerr of the GW Radio Network. Byron, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, it's great to see you. Welcome to Washington, D.C. Got a chance to talk to you before, but this is exciting. We're so close to the start of the season. Can you talk about Ty, Sierra, Kyra, and Maddie, the older players that you have, the seniors and the upperclassmen, and how important they're going to be to your success?
Sure. I think experience is really important. Maddie Loader's coming back. She's a senior for us. She's been at GW. She knows, the university. She knows the program. She knows the conference. So just her coming in, just with that understanding is really important. She's worked really hard in the off season, whether that's being a shooter, knocking down shots, getting in the gym, knowing her role as a leader. That's been very important as well. Maya Taiwo, another young lady that I don't believe you mentioned. She had some injuries over her career to this point in time, but she's coming back as somebody that knows the program, has had great in-court, in-game experience. We're going to rely on her as well. We made it a priority to try to find, some experienced players once getting here. So Ty Moore has NCAA tournament experience. She's a great leader on the floor. She really gets after it. She could score 15 feet and in. So really looking for her, versatility, defensive presence. Again, she could score the ball as well and create some havoc out there. We needed some people to handle the ball as well. So Kiara Frames and Sierra Bell, both experienced point guards that will be able to help run the team, lead the team. It's important that, they're an extension of the coaches out on the floor. So just with that experience that they have, and always they can score, they can shoot, and they can lead a team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Next question is from Jake Rome, WDVM TV. Jake, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. It's nice to officially meet you, I guess, this way virtually, but hopefully I can meet you out there at a GW basketball game in a couple of weeks. You have a lot of newcomers to this team, comes in with, the new coach as well. How has that chemistry been so far in the preseason, building up as we get closer to the regular season starting in a couple of weeks?
I've really enjoyed my 6 months here, and I think it's been special because of the connection that we've built with our players. And so from just having 6 players and getting to know them and spending time with them and doing spring workouts with them, and then as you're able to bring in transfers and different players at different times, that just kind of happened naturally. And so each person that came, it was maybe at a little bit different time, and we were able to spend time and connect individually as well as collectively. And this group really cares about one another. They love each other. They support each other, for our strengths and for our weaknesses, which, I really value that. And so we've grown together tremendously in a lot of ways. I think all of it starts off of the court and then it transitions to on the court. And so we've really just tried to spend time getting to know each other, supporting each other, having really good conversations. And so when we get into adversity, which happens every time, at all times during the season, like how are we going to respond to that? And it has to come because you have a stronger connection than just one out on the floor. So I've really enjoyed this group every day in practice. We're connecting in different ways and making that a priority for us.
All right, Coach McCombs, our last question from the media comes from Sunit Chakraborty from the GW Hatchet. Sunit, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. So I know you mentioned the importance of defense. What do you think it's important for the team to do, both in practice and on the court, to establish a strong and scrappy defensive identity?
Yeah, I mean, it's just who we are. It's what we work on every day. It's what we emphasize. And so, right, our defense is going to tell us if we win. Our offense is going to tell us by how much. And so that comes with, a mindset and a presence that we're going to have every day. So those things that we do, right, the drills that we do, our players have to take ownership of that and translate that into on court. One thing that is challenging and exciting at the same time is, these are all new players and these are all new teams that we're playing against. So the things that we're going to see in the non-conference, we want them to prepare us for A10 play. And so all of our different coverages that we work on in practice, we'll get opportunities to prepare us. So through those 13 games and that non-conference grind, we want to be prepared. And I feel like with the strength of our non-conference schedule, that's going to give us an opportunity to really grow once we get into conference play.
Coach, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All the best to you guys this season. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Head coach for GW on the women's side, Coach McCombs. Julianne's back with us here. And, some of the players that we'll have coming up in just a moment as we get them mic'd up, Maddie Loader and Kiara Frames. You have Loader, who's played 75 career games, so she has experience there. Frames, graduate transfer out of Albany, coming back home, lives about 20 minutes away. So, again, going to be interesting to see how Coach is able to mesh all these players together, right, in her first season.
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to do, and that's why you kept hearing her talk about experience, and having a couple players like that can bring some of that experience will help, especially when you look at GW's schedule. They've got a bunch of Power 5 opponents in their first 9 games. So they certainly don't have it easy right out of the gate, but I think that will be a really good thing and key for their development and growth as a program. So if you take a look at that, I mean, you're going to really need to rely on a couple of your players in Loader and of course Taiwo. So I think it should be interesting to see how their chemistry gels, and I want to see how their offense actually flows, because typically in the past, GW's defense has been their key factor. They've struggled on the offensive end. I think Coach McCombs will bring a nice little offensive system to this team.
All right, players are ready. Let's send on over now to Drew.
All right, ladies. Our first question is from Daniel Frank from A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead.
Morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So my question for you all is, obviously the biggest news of the offseason from my perspective was Jonquel Jones winning WNBA MVP. She's obviously GW women's basketball alum, arguably one of the greatest GW women's basketball players of all time. What does it mean for you all as a program to have that resource in your alumni network, and have you all had much time to connect with her this offseason?
Yeah, this offseason we actually got to watch her when she came and played the Mystics, and we got to have some interaction with her, and that was the first time I'd ever met her. And like, just one of the nicest people I've ever met, just was like, if you ever need anything, I'm here, like, just let me know. Like, just super, super nice. And it's so awesome to see her have the kind of success that she's been having, and kind of know that, like, that's a possibility. You don't have to go to, you know, a gigantic school, but you can go to GW, you can get a great education, and you can be the WNBA MVP. So it's really awesome. We were all really, really excited for her, and we love supporting her. It's very fun. So.
All right, our next question is from Zach Weiss from Pittsburgh Sports Now. Zach, go ahead.
Good morning, ladies. Maddie, for you personally, just being a part of now a coaching change, just what is it that struck you about what Coach McCombs has said, and how do you feel that message has been implemented?
Yeah, you know, Coach McCombs talks about every day pounding the stone, and that's something our team has really taken on from the second it was introduced. We were talking about it when we were conditioning. We were talking about it on the floor. Like, we were talking about it a lot. Like, pound the stone is something that we've really embodied, and that just kind of means putting your work in every single day. It's doing the hard work when people aren't watching, when people are watching, and knowing that, like, the work that you put in every day is going to benefit you in the long run, even if you're not seeing the outcome right away. We take that into effect every day in practice, every day in conditioning, every day in lift. Like, that's just something that we really embody, and it's kind of a new thing for all of us. It was new when it was introduced, and I think it's been really nice to have that kind of mantra that is so solid and so embodied in everything that we do and everything that Coach McCombs tells us. It just stems from pound the stone. So it's been great to have that mantra that you know every day going into practice, that's what you're doing. Yeah, it's been a really good energy to have around the program. We're really excited about it.
All right, the next question is from Roman Bobek of the GW Hatchet. Roman, go ahead, please.
Hi, Maddie. My question is specifically for you. You know, as a senior, you know, going through kind of a coaching change, how's it like being kind of a leader this year to kind of, you know, relay, you know, the new coach's message to, you know, the old guard, I would say, and kind of instilling that culture?
Yeah, a lot of it just comes from being around. I've played in a lot of games. I've played a lot of minutes. I know what's going on, and I think that's the biggest thing for me has been just like, hey, I know what happens here. I know what we do, and this is what coach is saying that we're going to do. So I know how to implement it. I've also had some great people around me to help me. Like, I'm not doing this by myself. I've had Maiwa around. I've had Faith and Essence, who are both here, and even our sophomores now, Piper and Aria, they've been awesome in helping us just move forward with what we want to do and what we want to be. And then also the transfers that have come in have been super helpful. Obviously, Key has been great as a leader, Ty, Sierra, and our JUCO transfers, Shazlani and Naya, they've been super, super awesome. And it's not just me being a leader. Every person on our team is a leader. Coach talks about how we need everybody on the team, no matter what your role is. And so obviously being a senior, I have a little bit more of like a responsibility to push us and go where we want to go, just because I'm a senior, and obviously that's what I want to do. I want to be a great team. I want to, you know, selfishly, I would like to win some games. So it's been great to have everybody on the same page and pushing the agenda that we want to push and becoming the team we want to become. So.
Okay. Hey guys. So my next question is so as both of you have a lot of experience being players, what do you look to emphasize to the younger players and how they approach you know, playing college basketball?
I think being a grad transfer, you just kind of have like gratitude to be able to play for as long as you can. I thought that last year was going to be my last year playing college basketball, and luckily I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to come here. I think that just being appreciative to be able to wake up every day and do something that everyone else doesn't get to do. That's something that coach definitely emphasizes, is like be where your feet are every day in practice. I think that, you know,
emphasizing that to the younger players, like this time doesn't last forever, and to just make the best of every moment, enjoy the relationships you make with your teammates, and make the best of everything. So I think that as a college basketball player, I've just been grateful to meet so many great people and have the experiences I've had.
Yeah, I think being a senior and being here all 4 years has been an experience, obviously, and like being in DC, so encouraging them to be a basketball player, but also to be a DC resident has been huge, because it's not every day that you get to live in the nation's capital. I mean, I'm from Minnesota, and so moving out here was like the greatest thing, and it was the most amazing thing, and so just encouraging them to take advantage of everything that GW has to offer, but also that kind of what Keith said, everything basketball has to offer as well. So kind of helping them find that balance has been huge.
And Kiara, you started every game for Albany the last 3 seasons. What do you have as a personal goal this year as you enter a new program and system?
I think just fulfilling my role. At Albany, that was my role. I took pride in doing that. A lot of people want to come out the game. I hate coming out. It's something that, I love that tired of being, like that feeling of being fatigued, because I know that I'm putting everything on the court. But this year we have a lot of assets. And I think that my minutes will definitely not have to be so intense, but I would love to stay on the floor for just as long. But I think that with the pieces we have, we all kind of feel like a puzzle. And I think that because we're all very supportive of each other and we want to see each other win, that whoever's on the floor, I think will get the job done. So I'm just excited to see how, all of us come together in terms of, this season to, win some games and just, have fun.
All right, Maddie, Kiara, thank you so much. All the best, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, you got it. That's going to wrap up George Washington on the men's and women's side here. Our first team in the books and our media days here in the Atlantic 10. We're just getting started. Coming up next, St. Bonaventure. Look out for them. Preseason #1, Kyle Lofton, Oshuniyi. We're going to hear from them, as well as their head coach, Mark Schmidt. That is coming up next as you watch Atlantic 10 Conference Media Days for 2021-22. Back after this.
All right, everybody. To everyone in the waiting room, or not in the waiting room, in the Zoom, for the GW media, if you're leaving, thank you very much. I know there were a couple of questions we didn't get to. Thank you. Sorry about that, but thank you for your participation. If you want to give me any feedback, since this is a new format for us, shoot me an email. And of course, if you still have a question, please feel free to reach out to the GW SIDs. For men, that's Kevin Burke. For women, that's Julie Coltre. If you need their contact information and don't have it, you can reach out to me as well. So that concludes GW. For those of you that are joining for the Bonnies, we'll have them on here in just a moment. Once again, we'll start with Coach and move to student athletes. As the studio hosts are talking to Coach, if you have questions, use the raise your hand function. Please turn your camera on so we can put you on the broadcast when you ask your question. And then one question only. If we have time for follow-ups, we'll get to it. I'm not sure we will, especially with the Bonnies. And we'll get through as many questions as we can. But just bear with us as we try to balance the studio show and having you guys on as well. Thanks, everybody. If you have questions, the best way to hit me is in the chat.
She can lead, and she can succeed. In the Atlantic 10, she can do it all.
Welcome back to Atlantic 10 Conference Media Days here for 2021-22. We finished up the first team with George Washington on the men's and women's side. St. Bonaventure is up next. We'll begin with the men here. Mike Corey, Adam Finkelstein. The Bonnies, no doubt, unanimous choice for the #1 preseason ranking in the A10 this year.
I mean, there comes a point where we just have to say, did anyone anticipate that Mark Schmidt would be able to pull off all of this year after year? I mean, the job that he has done at this program is just absolutely incredible, and the consistency that this program has shown. But make no mistake about it, expectations have never been higher. They've got a veteran roster. They won a ton of big games this year, but they have very high goals this season at St. Bonaventure.
Well, they certainly do, and for good reason. A lot of returning guys, like you said, and Coach Schmidt, who's been outstanding now in his 15th season, the Atlantic 10 champions from last year. He joins us now, winningest coach in program history. Mark, this happens every year. You know, I'm supposed to come up there in the summertime, play some golf, hang out, experience what Olean is like in the non-winter months, and I know it always gets away from us. So what did I miss out this offseason up there with you this past year?
You screwed up again, Mike. You screwed up again. Golf, lakes, fishing, drinking beer. You missed it all, babe. But hopefully, there's always next summer.
I'm just gonna schedule it now. We're gonna get ready for 2022. I'm gonna do it. Hey, there's a lot of people I know right now that want to ask you questions, so I'm gonna get it over to Drew for the media. All the best to you this year. We'll talk to you in a bit.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Mark, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
We've got a lot of questions queued up, so just dive right into it. First one is from Chucky Maggio from Pick and Splinters. Chucky, good morning. Go ahead.
Morning, Drew. Good morning, Coach. What's your just initial reaction? I know you've never been first in the preseason poll before, so what's your reaction to just the poll coming out and you guys being unanimous with all the first place votes for the preseason poll?
It's quite an honor. You know, it's a credit to our players, my staff, the administration here. You know, we've come a long way, and to be picked #1 preseason in such a great league with great coaches, great programs, great players, it's a great honor and something that we don't take lightly.
Mark, our next question is from Rachel Lindsay of the Buffalo News. Rachel, go ahead.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us this morning. Your team's number 23 in the nation, the unanimous pick to win the A10. In your time at St. Bonaventure, how have you built the program to bring it to this point, again, where it's nationally ranked, where you have the unanimous pick to win the Atlantic 10?
You know, I didn't build it. We built it. You know, I've been lucky to have when I first got a head coaching job at Robert Morris, the late great Skip Pross always told me that the most important decisions you make is your staff, and I've been lucky, and I've made some really good decisions on who I've hired, and they've done a tremendous job for me, both at Robert Morris and at Bonaventure. And we try to, you know, when we started this thing, you know, the program was down and it was pretty, you know, down a lot, and we wanted to try to get our head above water, you know, the first couple of years and just build this thing the right way by bringing in character kids that can graduate from St. Bonaventure and kids that love to play. And, you know, my assistants have done a great job in finding kids under the radar, you know, not the top 100 player, but a kid that, you know, I think they've done a great job in evaluating talent, where kids are going to be a year, 2 years down the road, and kids that love to play. You know, at Bonaventure, it's a basketball school, and, you know, the Raleigh Center is one of the best places to play in the country, and we sell that. But trying to get kids that love to play, that work on their games, that want to be pros, because in order to you know, win the Atlantic 10 or compete for Atlantic 10 titles, you need pros. You know, you don't need guys after 4 years, you know, you're helping them find a job, you know, on Wall Street or something. You know, we want to try to help them get agents so they can you know, continue to play basketball for a living. So it's, you know, we've been lucky with a number of guys. You know, Andrew Nicholson, we knew he was good. We didn't know he was going to be that good. Jalen Adams, we knew he was going to be good, but not that good. Just the guys that we have now with Oshun and Kyle and Dom and Jaron and Jalen, you know, we knew they were, talented kids. We just didn't know how good they were going to be, and these kids really worked their tails off to get to this position, and it's a credit to what they've done.
Thanks, Mark. The next question is from Aaron Robinson from All Facts Media. Aaron, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning, Aaron.
My question for you would be, I mean, last year, obviously, you guys made the NCAA tournament, was able to, you lost to LSU in that first round game. I mean, for this year, what would you say the expectation is? I mean, when I look at you guys' team, I think that the second weekend of the NCAA tournament is something that would be reasonable for you guys. I mean, what do you think the expectation is for your team is entering this season?
Yeah, there's high expectations. But as I told the team, the only expectations that really matter are our expectations, not the outside world. We understand that, the number one pick in preseason, that's all great. But, the games are won on the court. And, what we did last year was terrific. But last year was last year. This is a whole new year. And the one thing about last year, we didn't play well against LSU in the tournament. And I think that's the driving force to these guys this year. They're motivated to try to repeat what we did last year, and it's not easy, winning the Atlantic 10 and winning the Atlantic 10 tournament and going to the NCAA tournament and being a number 9 seed. That's really, really hard. And to duplicate that, it will be amazing. But our guys, the goal is to get back to the NCAA tournament and try to advance, just like every team. Every coach you talk to is, the ultimate goal is to get to the NCAA tournament. And last year we did that, and I think our guys got a taste of it. Now they want to try to get there again, which we know is going to be difficult. But if we do get there, to try to advance and try to get to the second weekend, and try to get to the third weekend, and that's what we're trying to do. And the guys are working hard so far, and we need some luck, as you know. But let's go for it. Let's embrace the number 1 seed and see how good we can be.
All right, Mark, the next question is from Nick Gellion from SBU TV. Nick, go ahead, please.
Hey, Mark, nice to talk to you again. So we all know about the 5 returning starters, the 5 returning seniors, and they're going to be the framework for how this whole season is going to go. But tell me about a player that you've seen develop during the preseason, that you've seen that is going to make an impact that we're not talking about right now as the media, that is going to make an impact in your lineups this season.
I think, we brought in 8 new guys. The 5 seniors that give them credit. They all came back, especially in this day and age of the portal. But I think, Kareem Koulibaly is a transfer from Pitt, and he's played at a high level, and he's a physical guy. He knows how to play. So if there's one guy that in the first 3 weeks of practice has really stuck out to the coaching staff, it's Kareem. He's tough, physical. He can shoot the ball from the perimeter. He can play both the 4 and the 5, and he can give Shun a little bit of a rest. Last year, as you guys know, we played, maybe 6 guys. A lot of times it was just 5, and I think the guys really got worn down at the end. And I think, and the hope is that we can have 2, 3, 4 of these new guys come in, and they don't have to score a lot of points or get a lot of rebounds. They got to play their role and to give the 5 seniors a little bit of a rest. So that's the role of those guys. But if you're going to ask about one guy, it would be Kareem. He's the one that's really stepped up and has really played well so far in the first 3 weeks of practice.
Thanks, Mark. All right, Mark. And our last question comes from David Jablonski of the Dayton Daily News. David, go ahead.
Coach, who do you see as your other top contenders in the conference this year? Who do you think is going to be around you guys competing?
In this league, it's anybody. Everybody's good. Great coaches, great players. But you look at the polls, and Richmond, with all those guys coming back, are going to be tremendous. And Coach Mooney does such a great job with them. St. Louis, VCU, Dayton, Davidson. You can go down the line, and there's always a surprise. There's always going to be a team that's picked in the middle of the pack that rises and either wins it or is in the top 2 or 3. It's just, that's why it's for us being picked number 1. It's a great honor, just because of how good this league is, and and a lot of it, as you know, is luck. injuries, get a bounce of the ball. And you look at last year, we had some really close games, and for the most part, we stayed injury free. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I can't really pick one team that's going to step up. There's a ton of teams, anybody in this league, because and I think that's why it's such a great league and gets the respect nationally. Is that we have really good players, really good coaches, and any game, if you don't bring it, you're going to lose, no matter if you're playing at home or away.
Coach Adam Finkelstein here in the studio. Wanted to ask you about your non-conference schedule, because given the expectations and postseason goals that you guys have, some of those early non-conference matchups could end up being very important down the road. How much are you emphasizing those matchups early, or not much at all, given all that's at stake?
Yeah, it's important, especially now, with the way the NCAA selection committee selects the teams. It's the non-conference is so important. And we have a tough non-conference, probably the toughest non-conference since I've been here, and probably in the last 2 or 3 decades. But I think our players deserve that, especially the 5 seniors, to be able to go and play in the Charleston Classic, something that we wouldn't have ever been thought of being invited to that 10 years ago. Then playing Virginia Tech down in Charlotte and UConn and Newark. It's a great schedule. Northern Iowa at home, but it's important. Our guys understand that. Our guys wanted to play this type of schedule, and now it's on. But it's, as I said, it's very, very important. You need to have some big wins in the non-conference to really legitimize yourself come Selection Sunday.
Coach, thanks so much. Always great to see you. We'll catch up with you at the Rally Center at some point this season.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, all the best. Coach Mark Schmidt joining us here from St. Bonaventure. I'm not going to go away from the fact that what he just said about the transfer portal and all that. No, he's kept his players there. They want to be there. They play hard. They want to come back. He sends people to the NBA to play overseas professionally. Pretty darn amazing.
Yeah,
really.
You really hit the nail on the head. Retention has been so important for St. Bonaventure, but I think it ties to something he alluded to earlier, and that's the fact that they've done a really good job of evaluating players early on in the recruiting process. So when you talk about, Oshun and Kyle Lofton, guys who didn't have a ton of Atlantic 10 level recruitment, Coach Schmidt and his staff gave them a chance, and they're repaying that faith later on in the process. I think that's kind of the cycle going all the way around.
Right, and they play together with each other. That's the thing. When I go up there and I watch those players interact with each other, and you go to the area, and I know a lot of people say, oh, you're in New York, it's cold, it's a hard place to get to. The fans are awesome. Mm-hmm. The Riley Center is packed. Mm-hmm. The players go there because they want to be there. They want to play basketball. They want to move on and further their careers. Yeah. And they've been doing that. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a theme that you're seeing throughout the conference this year, not just at St. Bonaventure. Obviously, VCU's been really emphasizing that theme. You can get to the NBA from the Atlantic 10. That point is becoming indisputable, and St. Bonaventure is about to add proof to that, I think, in the next year or so.
Yeah, Kyle Lofton, awesome player, running the show. What do you have when you have such a special guard like him, right?
Well, I think what you have is a dynamic two-way player, a guy who can make plays on both ends of the floor. He is dynamic. He can get downhill. He's got a quick first step in the half court. That's the area of his game that has really progressed in his time in Olean, is his ability to shoot the basketball, because he's got extremely long arms, and now when he can score it at multiple levels and make plays on both ends, his game has just become the complete package. And I don't know that anyone, this is a guy who didn't have a Division I scholarship offer in his senior year in high school. He had to go to prep school to get a Division I offer. So his story is really incredible.
That is pretty amazing. Well, we'll look forward to hearing from him right now. Kyle Lofton, along with Oshun Oshuniyi, join us here in Atlantic 10 Media Days. Drew is ready to field questions from the media. Drew?
Good morning, gentlemen. Looking forward to seeing you all play this year, hopefully in person. Our first question is from Patrick Stevens of Atlantic10.com. Patrick, go ahead, please.
Hi, guys. Just wanted to ask about the importance of the continuity that you guys have been able to have here over the last several years, and how much you feel like that's going to contribute to what you guys could possibly do this season.
I guess it's really important. This program has been really good, and being able to come in here and just keep that trend going, that history going, has been really good, keeping the culture going in an upward trend. So I feel like just having all that behind us and all the support will help us out a lot this year.
All right, next question is from Rachel Lindsay of the Buffalo News. Rachel, go ahead.
Hi, Kyle. Hi, Oshun. Thanks for joining us this morning. This question is for either player. Can you answer this? What do you think has been key in what Mark and his staff have done within the program as a whole to build it into being the favorite in the Atlantic 10 to be nationally ranked this year?
I think he builds the program around like toughness, and like he always says it's blue collar. All his guys usually aren't recruited high, and we all have like a chip on our shoulder. And I think that like that means a lot to us, and we all know that, and we just want to prove ourselves.
All right, gentlemen. Next question is from Chucky Maggio of Pick and Splinters. Chucky, go ahead, please.
Kyle and Shun, this is for either one of you. How is your, with a whole new bench, how has your leadership role evolved this preseason?
I think you take another step like in the right direction. I mean, having a whole new bench and just having 5 returning seniors, the pressure's kind of on us to help get those guys up to speed as quick as possible. I mean, the season's 2 weeks away, and we're still, trying to get everything together fully, but at the same time, it's helping us become better players and being better leaders. So this whole offseason and preseason has just been a big step for us, leading the new guys, bringing them in and getting them used to the culture here at Bonaventure.
All right, the next question is from Aaron Robinson at Truth and Media. Aaron, go ahead.
Guys, what's up? First and foremost, good to see you guys, man. My question is for both of you guys, man. Obviously, you guys were able to win a title together at PSA. Shout out to Coach Graves and Coach Espo. You guys were also able to obviously win the A10 together last year. What has it meant to you guys to be able to go on this journey together from Putnam now obviously at St. Bonaventure? And what are your goals as you guys enter your last year at St. Bonaventure?
Coming here with Oshun, I think it was after winning the PSA championship. I think it was special. We both from Jersey. I didn't really know him before that, but I got to know him. He became one of my closest friends, and I think it's just special winning 2 championships. And now the goal here is to win another one, and then hopefully we can get the big one.
Yeah, to bounce off what Kyle said. Like I said, I didn't really know him going into Putnam, but like I said, as the year got on at Putnam, we kind of became good friends, and then going through my recruitment process after Putnam. When I decommitted from LaSalle, Kyle was on me ever since he knew that I was decommitting, and him, Coach Schmidt, and all of them were on me. So it was kind of like a good thing to have someone I play with. Winning the championship last year was a great feeling, and then like I said, what Kyle said, going off this year, win another A10 championship, and hopefully make a run in the big dance.
All right, gentlemen, and our last question is from Nick Gillian from SBU TV. Nick, go ahead.
Hello, nice to talk to you guys again. This is for both of you to answer. As Adam Finkelstein just mentioned, you guys are the top prospects from this team, most likely. So keeping that in mind, how have you developed most this offseason in terms of thinking about the future and then thinking about this year's team? How have you developed the most?
For me personally, I think expanding my offensive game. I think my first 3 years here, everyone kind of understands, like I kind of knew what I was doing. It's just defensively, and that's kind of been it. But I think this offseason, I kind of been trying to expand my offensive game and be able to help put points on the board more, not just being defense. But at the same time, future-wise, I mean, that's what pros, I've been hearing feedback that they need to see my offensive game more and my body and my strength. I've been putting on a lot of weight this summer, and it's been shown in practice, and I feel like I've been getting a lot more confident on the offensive end of the floor.
With me personally, a lot of scouts and like agents are saying like jump shooting. Obviously, I went to like a slump last year, but I don't really look at that. Like I know I can shoot. I'm gonna just keep shooting, and I'm gonna show people that I really can shoot. And then besides that, just showing more like my athleticism. Like I can jump, but a lot of people don't really see that. It don't help playing 40 minutes a game, but I feel like this year I can get a little bit of a break, and I can really show how athletic I am.
What's up, guys? Adam Finkelstein back in the studio. Want to kind of tie all this together and ask you about all that you've been through collectively, and with those goals of getting to the next level after St. Bonaventure. How do you balance those things? Because you have things you want to accomplish as a team this year, but you obviously have individual goals as well. beyond your time in college basketball. So what is the mindset like, and do you guys talk to each other about the balance that goes into that?
I mean, as of right now, our focus is, helping the team win games and, winning another A10 championship and making a run in the tournament. As far as like our own personal stuff, I mean, I work on that stuff during the season, but our main focus as of right now, we can't be worried about ourselves, and that's like to us, like the seniors, about is not having guys, with their own agendas. Like, we're still a team, like we still have a goal, a job to do, and that's to win games for St. Bonaventure. So as of right now, we're just focused on, this team win games in the best way we can, and then at the same time showing what we can take to the next level and showing our improvements.
All right, Kyle, Oshun, thanks so much, guys. All the best this season. We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, looking forward to seeing them in action once again this year, huh? How about it?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's especially fun for me because I've gotten to watch them together since prep school. So seeing Aaron Robinson jump in there and ask some questions, I mean, another Putnam Science alum, it's just so much fun to watch two guys who have exceeded everyone's expectations and done it together in lockstep for the last 5 years. It's a really special story.
All right, let's get Julianne back on here. What's happening as we transition over to the women's side for St. Bonaventure? Jesse Fleming, St. Bonaventure graduate, now in his sixth season. Where are we at for St. Bonaventure women this year?
Raise your hand. Have your camera on.
This is a hungry St. Bonaventure team. I mean, they're coming off of a losing record, a losing season, and I think this season they've got 3 Division I transfers. They've got a couple of really solid players coming back this year in terms of starters. I think that this is a team that could really be somewhat of a dark horse. I mean, you can't really blink on them because they're a solid program with a lot, I think, of talent. So I'm interested to see how the season progresses for them. But I do think that it's a hungry group because, they're trying to get past that losing hump from last year and starting fresh this season. So a group of good, fine young ladies this season for St. Bonaventure.
We heard from Coach Schmidt about, what he does on the men's side. He's trying to get his players to the next level, to be pros wherever it is, overseas, NBA. They're, of course, picked first. It's a little bit different on the women's side. What about recruiting? What about for them? What about the struggles and things that they have to go through? It's drastically different when you talk about St. Bonaventure women's basketball.
It is, and I think it's a lot harder to recruit. I mean, you have to get a specific type of person to come out there. We've all been out to Olean, New York. I mean, I didn't know how to pronounce it at first. So you got to get a specific type of player, but the men's side is absolutely different. I mean, they bring out the whole town, a lot of support there on terms of that side. But yeah, the women's side, I think, has been growing over the years, and it does take a specific player where you really want to be more of a big fish in a smaller pond, so to speak. And that can really actually attract a lot of players. I mean, when people ask my opinion, I always say that that's actually the better position to be in as a player, rather than being that small fish in like a really big pond. You have the chance to really improve, to showcase your talent, to get better. And especially, as you heard Coach Schmidt say, that can really be helpful if you want to play at the next level, because you're going to have a chance to shine and really show your skill set at a school like St. Bonaventure.
Jesse Fleming is ready. He joins us now here for Atlantic 10 Conference Media Day. Coach, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Hi, Coach. Great to see you. New season. I know you've got a couple of terrific players coming back in terms of starters this year, and a new group, a new flock of newcomers. How is it a little different this year? I know that you were interviewed earlier in the summer, and you said that it's a little bit better this year because you're a little further ahead, given you've got a couple of really solid players coming back.
Yeah, it's really nice to return our core of a group of your 3 scorers. I think our 3 leading rebounders. The base of our crew is returning, and that's really helpful. They've done a great job of bringing along some newcomers who I think are going to help us as well. But yeah, to have kind of the base of the system in over the course of July has put us ahead. Where we can really focus more on the details, and not just, hey, you need to be able to remember to go from A to B here, and hey, this is how we rotate in this defense. Like we're on more to the details, and definitely have seen some growth from both the returners and the newcomers.
Questions now from the media as we send it on over to Drew Dickerson once again. Drew.
Thank you, Mike. Jesse, good morning. Hope you're well.
Good morning, Drew.
Our first question is from Daniel Frank at A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing great. So if my math is correct, which I believe it is, you all have 8 new players in total with 5 transfers and 3 freshmen. This is obviously going to be a very different roster than what we saw a year ago from this team. What can we expect from them, especially with all these new pieces coming into the mix with your returning players as well?
Yeah, I mean it's a kind of a similar situation. Mark's got a little bit more experience on the men's side, but we're kind of in the same boat where, we return our core of A10 Johnson, Tori Harris, Ayanna Lopes, Maddie Diskowski, who started a bunch of games for us, and then we bring in some newcomers, that have either played high level, like an N.A. Adams at Wichita State in the AAC, or even like a Tiana Johnson who was playing in the Jayhawk League in your college. They're very experienced players, so I wouldn't say that they're completely green and don't understand what it's like to be in a college basketball program. And it's all about the mix now. It's really finding who's going to work together, who of the newcomers, who's going to pick it up the quickest. What lineups work the best for us. And so that's been I wouldn't call it a challenge. It's been really, really exciting to see kind of the old and the new kind of come together and mix, and we've seen some really positive things.
All right, Jesse, next question is from Rachel Lindsay, the Buffalo News. Rachel, go ahead, please.
Hi, Jesse. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Rachel.
What are going to be some of the strengths of your team this year? What are going to be some areas of improvement, especially as you bring this group together?
Yeah, I think our guard play is really gonna have to lead us with Agenay. We're gonna try to get the ball in Agenay's hands a lot. I feel like she's a player who, with the extended 3-point line, I think long twos, if you have the ability to make a long two, it's even more of a premium. Obviously, we're gonna, your bread is buttered at the 3-point line and at the rim, but she's the kid that can probably make long twos at the highest level of anybody in our league, and that's just such a premium shot if you could shoot that at a high level. And then Tori Harris, we're going to swing her from the 4 to the 3 to give a little bit more size at our wing position. And Tori was our second leading scorer last year. Didn't shoot it great, and we think she has the ability to, and she can go off the bounce and rebound really well for that spot. So I think those guys, the guard position is where we're gonna have some strengths and be able to create some shots. Our defense needs to improve. I've seen some really good things in practice so far, but we gave up too many second chance points. We gave up too many things at the rim last year. I think we've grown in our physical presence. I think we're a little bit better on the basketball. But for us to have success, to make our offense even easier, our defense is going to have to take a jump this season.
All right, Jesse, next question is from Zach Weiss of Pittsburgh Sports Now. Zach, go ahead.
Hey, Jesse, good to talk to you again. Just from an intangible perspective, what is it that you feel gives this team confidence, and how has that confidence been more sophisticated?
Hey, Zach, your question was a little muted. Can you ask it again?
Yeah, of course. Love Zoom. Just, Jesse, what is it that gives this team confidence, and how has that confidence matured from last year?
Yeah, I would just say the leadership. We've really put it on Tori and A's shoulders to be captains and say, this could be your guys' last go around. Show the team, how much you want it, how desperate you are to have success. And I just think it all flows from them. They bring it every day in practice and really show. Hey, this is how things are done here. And with 8 newcomers, that's really, really important. But I would say those are the intangibles. But we've got some really, when I say intangibles, I think Casey Baumhauer as a freshman has come in with she just oozes intangibles. She's a great talker, and she's communicating at all times and bringing energy. And I think having more of those type of players, and Casey's just one of many. I think it's just a team that you're going to see where, they're there to support each other more, cover up for each other more on the basketball court. But it all comes down to Tori and A and the leadership, and they are the ones that it flows from.
All right, Jesse, and our last question comes from Nick Gillian at SBU TV. Nick, go ahead, please.
Hi, Jesse. Nice to talk to you again. Much has been made of, obviously, of the 11 transfers from last season. But the team also struggled last season at times from three, shooting from long range. So how, through the new players that you brought in, have you addressed for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, Nikki Oppenheimer was a player that we really think can come in and help us from the 3-point line. And then just Tori needs to bump up her 3-point shooting percentage, which I know she will. I think playing the three will help her there. But we just needed to create better 3-point looks. I think having Anae Adams and Ayanna Lopes play together a little bit is going to have teams have to commit inside a little bit more, which might create some more 3-point shooting opportunities. And then back to the defense, I just think some of the highest percentage shots from three are created in transition off of turnovers, off of other teams' missed shots. And I think if we're creating more missed shots in the half court, I think we're going to be able to get some clean looks in transition and help us with that 3-point shooting percentage.
Thanks, Jesse.
Hi, Coach. Julianne Vianney-Brain back in the studio for you. Tori Harris, we've talked about her a little bit, and you mentioned she's going to be playing the three position this year. How has she adjusted to that position, given it's a new role for her?
Yeah, I think she's been solid in it. She's doing a good job of reading stuff off of, we're kind of slingshotting around of her off of more off-ball screening actions, staggers, pin downs, things like that. And she's really comfortable there. We still want to see her growth in off the dribble and in two-man games, try to get her into dribble handoffs and side ball screens. And, if there's a hedge and things like that for her to be able to attack that. I'd like to see her just take a little bit more of a step as a playmaker too, where she's getting in the lane, drawing help, and being able to find her teammates as well if she's created a help situation. So she's been really good. I think defensively it's going to be a big difference maker to have a guard that can rebound like Tori and have more length on the perimeter. That's the real the big part for us. But she's done a really nice job moving back kind of to her more natural position.
And Coach, having that extra length on the perimeter that you're talking about, does that change your style of play at all this season with this crop of players versus, let's say, last year? I know every year is different based on the personnel that you have.
No, I just think it juices up the system a little bit more. I think as far as defensively, just it makes us we can cover the floor more. Just with length and size everywhere. That's always been something that we've been trying to address the last couple of years to get bigger and longer defensively and to improve our rebounding. So I just think that just makes our defense better with some similar principles, maybe some tweaks here and there on how we guard the post and things like that. Offensively, we're trying to put as many playmakers out there as we can. There's a lot of motion principles to our system, and if you get the ball, you got to be able to make a play with it. And Tori's somebody that can make a play at that spot. And that's where the system will just get, I'm calling it the system, whatever you're going to call it, but that's where you can have some success with just putting a lot of playmakers on the floor offensively.
Yeah, we're giving her for her. Coach, thanks so much. We really appreciate it, and good luck to you guys this season. We'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, you got Coach Fleming joining us here. We're going to get to the
Everybody,
players
if you have
in just a little
questions
bit,
for the
Julian.
St.
So,
Bonaventure,
you heard him talk a lot about, Johnson
hit the raise your hand button.
and, also Harris. Who he said percentage-wise wanted to get up there, 3-point shooting, second best on the team, but adds so much as a top rebounder, second leading scorer. Sounds like they're going to have to really be the leaders for this group.
Go ahead and hit the raise your hand button so I can see how many questions we're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're the two that you look at, and coming back, they're the most experienced, and they know the system, very well. And what I do like about Coach Fleming's system is that it is a motion offense, because it does give that freedom for players to be able to take you off the dribble, to read and react off of screens. And I think that actually in turn is hard to scout. It's really tough when you play a team like that, because if you get those versatile players, they're reading and reacting well, you can't really pick apart their plays. So I do think he's got a good little group of talent here. It's going to be hard to implement so many different pieces around those two dynamic duos, but I think to start anywhere, those two are certainly going to be the place and the epicenter of this team.
Yeah, certainly times are a little bit different now, but like talk about when you first started playing, what were some of the things that were the most difficult that you had to either learn or grow into, or that coaching staffs are kind of looking for, as a young player coming up in college basketball?
I think for me personally, and I think you'll hear this from a lot of coaches, is your defense. When you get into college, you can learn how to be a better defender. A lot of times you might have a lot of talent offensively as a player, but if you can't defend, a lot of coaches will tell you, you're not going to have any time. You're not going to see minutes. I remember my coach telling me that when I first came in, hey, listen, you're a defensive liability. You better learn how to defend and then you'll play. So I think for a lot of players, learning the pace of the game on the defensive standpoint, because it's a lot faster. It's a lot more physical as well. But really picking up those cues on that end of the floor is what really creates that dynamic player that can play on both ends. So I think that's my opinion and from what my experience has been in playing college basketball.
All right, well, time now to hear from Asian A. Johnson and Tori Harris. They join us now here on Media Days as we send it on over to Drew.
Ladies, good morning. I hope you're well this morning. Our first question from the media for you comes from Nick Gellion from SBU TV. Nick, go ahead, please.
Hi, nice to talk to you guys again. This question, I guess, could be answered by either of you, but you had to carry a lot of what this team did last year just to get the team to where it ended up being last year, just to carry the team to a few wins. So with the new pieces that are surrounding you now, how do you think that is going to change? Who do you think is going to step up and take on a little bit more of that from you two?
I think with the new additions, we can kind of relax a little bit, but we're not going to. But we have more people to help rebound. We have a lot more scorers this year, a lot of playmakers. So it won't just always come down to us. We have a lot more this year.
Asian, you want to add to that?
Yeah, just pointing out a few, Nikki Oppenheimer, Mackenzie Smith, just like Coach said, Casey Baumhauer, who else? Anae, she's our top rebounder right now in practice, just adding a lot of pieces towards our success, which is needed.
Okay, great. Thanks. Next question is from Daniel Frank of A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, ladies. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So with all the new pieces that you've got this season, as Nick was talking about, what has the chemistry been like for you guys, kind of meshing all these new pieces together? And then also, what's been the focal point of the offseason for you guys? Has it been rebounding? Has it been, just working on passing? What's been really the key for you guys working through practices as we get ready for this new season?
Some of the key focus definitely have been, we actually talked about it today before practice, which is our assist numbers and constantly being able to rebound the ball, offensive rebound, defensive rebound. It just gives us second chance opportunities in order to get more possessions in the game.
Hi, ladies. Julianne Vianney-Brain here from the studio. I know you mentioned some of the newcomers just before and a couple of questions ago, but is there a player, a surprise player that you see that has really, really stepped into her own and really made a big difference in the preseason here that we can kind of focus in on as the season approaches here in November?
I think Anae Adams will be just a monster on the boards. Teams are going to have to worry about how to get her off the glass at all times, just how to box her out, because we're on the same team and we can't even figure it out.
Yeah. Also, Maddie Grogowski, she's shooting the shit out the ball. Excuse my language. I'm so sorry. She's shooting the heck out the ball in practice, in our scrimmage. That's how you know it's really serious. So yeah.
And Tori, I know that you've had to move over to the 3 position. How has that adjustment been for you? I know when I played, I had to go from playing the point guard to the 2 guard, and it's not always an easy adjustment. So how has that been for you, and has it brought out the best in your game that you can see so far?
Yeah, so when I was at JMU, I actually played like the 2 and the 3. So then when I came here, I moved to the 4. So it's just like kind of going back, you know. I feel like I'm a better defender on a guard anyway, so I think that this is like a good change, you know, and I think I could rebound better at this position because I'm like taller than most guards or in this conference, so I think it'd be like beneficial to me.
Back to Drew for another question. Drew.
We have a question from Rachel Lindsay of the Buffalo News. Rachel, go ahead, please.
Hey, Tori. Hey, A10. Thanks for joining us this morning. What do you see as some of your team's strengths going into the season? Where do you see areas of improvement that need to be made this season?
Some of our strengths, I would have to say, is just staying connected overall, 40 minutes for sure. And we're obviously increasing on our rebounding percentages in practice, in our scrimmages. Some of our weaknesses would definitely be being able to consistently play offense and defense for 40 minutes straight without any breaks, without any backlashes or setbacks.
Ladies, thank you so much. Thanks for the time this morning. Have a great one this year, and all the best, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, you got it. That's all for George, or for St. Bonaventure, I should say. George Mason is coming up next. We've closed down 2 schools, George Washington, St. Bonaventure, George Mason, the Patriots. We'll talk about them on the men's and women's side. Josh Oduro, one of the top players returning, and a brand new coach, and Kim English. Look forward to hearing from him and what the Patriots have when we come back to Atlantic 10 Conference Media Days right after this.
We hope you'll stick around and join us for other sessions. We've got George Mason coming up next, obviously. So for those of you that have joined or joined late, if you're gonna have a question for Coach English or any of the Mason student athletes or Coach Blair Lewis and the women's student athletes, use the raise your hand function. One question, then we'll do follow-ups. We won't do follow-ups unless we have time. So one question each. Everybody's been awesome so far. Thanks for rolling with us. And if you have questions, shoot them to me in the chat. Okay, everybody, once again, just because we're in break and I can talk to you pretty freely now, for those of you that have joined late, if you're going to have a question for the Mason crew, use the raise your hand function. Go ahead and get it in queue so I know how many questions we've got. We've already got several in there. And we'll get to as many as we can. And then we'll do the same with the student athletes and then the same with the women's side as well. If you need to screen record, please just make the request in the chat. If you have questions for me, put them in the chat because I'm also being broadcast part of the time. I can't really talk back other than the chat, but I'm watching the chat. So if you have questions or problems or issues, let me know. A reminder, just one question, no follow-ups. Just
welcome back to Atlantic 10 Conference Media Days here on this Wednesday, day 1 of 2, as we get set to talk George Mason. The Patriots are coming up next. We'll talk with the men and then the women's side, coaches and players, as we welcome you back. Mike Corey alongside ESPN National Basketball Recruiting Analyst Adam Finkelstein. This is a team, George Mason, it always seems to be a hard one to figure out, right, year after year. I know you go to the Final Four way back in the day and the expectations are high. It's hard. It's hard to figure out what George Mason's all about, isn't it?
It is, but it's a brand new start under Kim English, and I got to be honest, they haven't played a game yet, but I think anybody has to be very impressed with the early returns, because when you're coming in as a new coach, you not only have to establish the culture, that's the part that everybody talks about, you also have to rebrand the program, let everybody know in the area what you're all about, develop some momentum on the recruiting trail, and Kim English has been able to do all three of those things. Color, he's brought branding, he's brought the culture, and he's gotten momentum on the recruiting trail. So he's done a tremendous job, and they haven't even played a game yet.
He's joining us right now for George Mason as we get set to talk to him. And Coach, you spent the last few years at Tennessee under Rick Barnes. Now you come to George Mason. You heard what Adam was talking about. Your experience playing in the NBA as well, and what attracted you to George Mason here, and what you feel like you can do with this program. What do you think?
Well, hey guys, thanks for having me. But we're just really excited. We're really excited to get this thing started. I thought it was a no-brainer opportunity to get my coaching career started here at Mason, and the guys, the community, the university, everything's been great. 7 months in.
All right, Coach, we're going to head on over to Drew Dickerson now. I'm going to field the questions from the media, and wishing you all the best this season.
Coach English, good morning. Welcome to the A10. We'll be talking frequently, but good to actually meet you this way. Our first question comes from Marcus Washington of Making the Cut. Marcus, go ahead with your question for Coach Kim English.
Hey, Coach, good morning, and it's great to see you. Hey, can you speak a little bit about your defense and how it sets the pace for a game, not only in forcing live ball turnovers, but also forcing what a lot of coaches refer to as shooting turnovers, where you're forcing the ball into a hand of maybe a player that doesn't want to shoot it on that spot on the floor. Just how is your defense really going to set the tone for your offense and for this season?
You know, it's the most important thing we have. It's a huge part of our identity. You know, we the offense is great. You know, making shots, obviously you want to do that, but we're going to be able to depend on our defense and our rebounding night in and night out. It's a focal point of what we work on every single day in practice. You know, it's a part of our core value, not forcing turnovers per se, but we want to be disruptive. And we want to force our opponents into tough, contested two-point shots, and we want to limit them to one shot.
All right, Kim, the next question is from Daniel Frank from A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Doing great, Daniel. How you doing?
I'm doing great. One of the big conversations surrounding George Mason just over the last several years has been team identity. What can we really expect from this team, both offensively and defensively? What do you think that they may struggle with early on with the season? And then what do you think their strengths are really going to end up being?
I don't know what we'll struggle with, but we absolutely built this schedule to be challenging. You know, we want to have quality opponents and quality wins, and we have that. You know, right off the bat, you know, with three teams, Stony Brook, Penn, and Morgan State, who are picked to finish around the top of their league, and then at Maryland and James Madison and so on and so on. But our identity is going to be tough. We're going to be a tough, competitive, hard-playing team. Our guys work incredibly hard off the court in our daily vitamins. Our guys work on their games like NBA players do. They're in the gym every single day with grad assistants, coaches, themselves, making themselves better players offensively. So tough, competitive, they're hardworking, and on offense, they're going to be incredibly unselfish. You know, we have some really talented offensive guys, but you know, we like to say there is no go-to player. There is no one guy that you can say you can take away and George Mason will falter. We like to say that the go-to guy on our team is the open man, and our guys will play with an incredible amount of unselfishness, passing the ball and moving their bodies around the court.
All right, Kim, the next question is from Jake Rome at WDVM TV. Jake, go ahead, please.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
How you doing, Jake?
Doing pretty good. I know we talked a little bit at your first practice a few weeks ago. You guys are projected 8th early on. I know projections don't mean everything, but this team has just been on the outside of that top 4 kind of threshold in the A10 the past couple of years. What is it going to take for this team, your team this year, to finally get into that top 4 threshold?
Yeah, it's we're not there yet. We're not even close to that yet. We have practice tomorrow, practice Friday. We have a close scrimmage Saturday, and November 9th, the first game of the season. And then after 13 games in the non-conference, we'll be ready to tackle our Atlantic 10 slate. Projections, you're right, they mean absolutely nothing to me. I couldn't tell you where the ranks in the A10 are. I don't care. I couldn't tell you who's picked to be all conference in the A10. I don't care. Every year I've been around college basketball, it's never been right. In 2018, Tennessee was picked to finish 13th in the SEC. They won the league. So it's a moot point for us. For our guys, it's our focus every single day and trying to lock into our process. And what that means, it's continuing to be incredibly tough, competitive, hardworking, and just simply winning the possession, doing what each guy has to do as an individual and as a collective group to win the possession. And hopefully we can stack those possessions. And if we do that, I feel very confident in us. Now, if we do that, right, it's a big caveat. If we do that and stack those possessions and play the way that we know we need to play, I feel really good about us competing to finish well above 8.
All right, Coach, the next question is from Nick Lawrenson at SB Nation. Nick, go ahead, please.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So just talk about your relationship with Deshaun real quick. What have you already seen out of him this year, and what are you expecting out of him?
I was doing better until I seen your terrible towel there next to you. No, I love Deshaun. I was with him when he first came into college. We got really close. When I left for Tennessee, it was really hard for me to leave Deshaun, McKinley Wright, and Tyler Bay. I stayed in close contact with those guys. If we weren't playing at Tennessee, I was watching them play at Colorado. When he hit his game winner against Dayton, I actually woke up my daughters. I woke up the entire house. I was yelling, running around the house. So when he decided to move on, he was a no-brainer for us to target. His experience, his talent, his maturity. He's been great. He's been great thus far.
All right, Coach, next question is from Wayne Epps from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Wayne, go ahead, please.
Hey, Coach, good morning. I was wondering if you could kind of describe your coaching style, your hands-on approach, willing to hop in a drill, hop in a scrimmage, whatever the case may be, and how important is it for you to coach in that manner with the guys?
Yeah, my coaching style is in practice, I'm really involved, but it was funny. We had a scrimmage the other day, and I don't know what it's going to be like in a game. I would love to be Phil Jackson, just sit down and let the guys do what they have to do, but I'm not. I am who I am. So we're still figuring that out, who I am as a coach. I'm really convicted in our beliefs of our value system. And for me, it's just having our guys play to that standard every single possession. So doing whatever I have to do in practice in a game to make sure that our core guys are playing to that standard every day.
All right, Coach, next question is from Aaron Robinson of All Facts Media. Aaron, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Coach. It's good to see you.
What's up, Aaron? How you doing?
Doing well. Recently I spoke to Tad Boyle, and he joked that Nate Tomlinson was on a run for you guys, just until he gets an opening on his staff. So I wanted to know, obviously, having Nate with you over here at George Mason, man, you guys have known each other for north of 10 years back to your prep school days. We're together at Colorado. I mean, what has he meant to you? Obviously, he's known for his international kind of recruiting prowess. You have a guy in Blake Jones from Australia on your roster. But, I mean, what has it been like just to have him with you here at George Mason in your first few months?
Well, Tad thinks he's going to take Nate from us when he has an opening. He's lost his mind. Nate has an infant daughter, and her name's Nova. So he's all in to the D.C., Northern Virginia area. But no, he's been great. I've known Nate since 2007. We played against each other in prep school. We competed against each other in college. We got to work together. He's a great friend first and foremost, and he's a brilliant coach. He's a really good offensive mind. He's done a great job recruiting, not just internationally, but domestically as well. I always say, I think Nate will be an NBA head coach one day. I think he's brilliant.
All right, Kim. And the last question comes from Rachel Lindsay of the Buffalo News. Rachel, go ahead, please.
Hi, Kim. Devontae Gaines came in from Tennessee with you. What kind of role is he going to take in your system at George Mason?
Yeah, so Ticket has been great. Devontae Gaines has been incredible. I got to, his stats at Tennessee don't do it any justice. We just continue to recruit at a level where he just never could quite overcome the guys we were bringing in. But what I'm really lucky about is I got to see him every single day in practice, and he's been awesome. He's a coach's dream from the standpoint of he will do whatever it takes to win. Defensively, offensively, he shares the ball. I mean, he crashes the glass. He's developed as a shooter. Yes, it was the easiest recruiting pitch ever. He had all these schools recruiting him, and it was at the time we were trying to convince someone else to stay here. And when it was kind of looking like this player was going to leave and go elsewhere, we really didn't chase much. I just called Ticket and was like, "Yo, what's up?" And he was like, "I'm in." And that was it. And he's been great. Our players love him. I think George Mason fans are going to fall in love with Devontae Gaines.
Coach Adam Finkelstein back in the studio. How you doing?
What's up, Adam? Doing well. How you doing?
Good. Quick question. I wanted to ask you about what I alluded to earlier. Obviously, year one, you're building your culture on the floor. But off the floor, it seems like you guys have really been conscious about establishing a brand and deliberate in the way you market your program. Obviously, it's already paid off in the type of momentum you're making on the recruiting trail. Can you talk about that process and how it's not really something that first-year head coaches talk as much about, but I think it's really important to laying the groundwork of the program?
It's we feel really good about what we have inside these walls, inside our facilities, inside of our program. And it's just about giving access to that, to people locally, to
I think we lost Coach there. Coach, thanks so much. So we appreciate your time. And I think he's right. I mean, they're excited for what they have, and they should be, because when you go down to a place like George Mason, you recognize the facility, the fans, Doc Nixon, the green machine. You got the PA announcer. I mean, it could get away from you there early if they're playing well and you get on top of a team.
And they've done things. They've had coaches mic'd up in practice. They've already got a commitment from a top 100 prospect. He's made it very clear, just like Jamie and Christian, that the DMV is going to be a big priority in recruiting. So I really do believe they've done a tremendous job with a holistic approach to building a program.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and then that's the thing, like you said, the standings, okay, they're right there in the middle of the pack. Don't even think about that for a moment, because a lot of it changes, all right? And we know St. Bonaventure, unanimous #1 selection there, but George Mason's got certainly an opportunity to move up the ranks there.
Yeah, and people don't know what to expect. I mean, let's just, the coaches don't know what to expect. Kim English's first year on the job. And by the way, I love the fact that he had the humility to say, hey, I'm not quite sure who I am as a head coach yet, because no first-year head coach is exactly sure how that's going to happen on the sidelines. But here's a guy who's comfortable enough in his own skin to say, hey, we're going to find out. I thought that was a phenomenal answer.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have it all figured out, and you're not going to. Like you said, it came from Tennessee. I think that's great. Rick Barnes' experience, the stuff that he must have gained there, pretty tremendous, I'm sure. Now, you run a program, you got to deal with other stuff that you're not used to, right? I mean, that's the thing. There's going to be kind of a little bit of a shock to the system.
No doubt.
And I wish, and I know it's different now in college basketball and the landscape of sports in general, but give them a little bit of time, right? You know what I mean? You don't seem to get that anymore.
Well, they're confident in themselves. That's very clear. They've got a lot of incoming players. They've got great recruits coming in. So what they're going to be this year, people don't know. But I think everybody knows that they are going to be a rising power in the Atlantic 10.
All right, we're going to take a timeout here. We're going to come back with more in Atlantic 10 Basketball Media Days here as we attempt to talk more with George Mason. We also have the women's program coming up as well. Stay tuned. More right after this.
Wayne and Marcus, while we're in break, your hands are up. Is that for the players, I'm assuming? Just nod. Okay. We are endeavoring to get them back.
Welcome back to Atlantic 10 Basketball Media Days here, day 1 of 2 on this Wednesday. We're happy to have you with us. We're talking George Mason right now. Heard from George Washington, St. Bonaventure a little bit earlier. Mike Corey, Adam Finkelstein here with you in the studio. Mason, some transfers now. You got a guy coming from Colorado, graduate transfer there, and Deshaun Schwartz. Josh Aduro, solid big guy inside, returning again. What else?
Devontae Gaines coming from Tennessee. So the interesting thing about both of those transfers
I've got 3 questions
is the fact that they
now.
already have
question,
experience
and
and some chemistry with their head coach, Kim English. Deshaun Schwartz is a guy who was a top 100 prospect coming out of high school. He went and he had a terrific career at Colorado. I'll tell you the other thing that I like about him and Gaines, they're both left-handed. So when you go to a coaching staff that's going to have some creativity with the way they play offensively, it gives you the freedom in the way the game is played now, and with so much pick and roll continuity, you can have guys getting downhill on both sides of the floor. So that's kind of a nuance that most people may not think about, but with 2 lefties in the lineup like Schwartz and Gaines, it's going to be really interesting how they can utilize that offensively.
Yeah, that's a good point. You have to have a little bit of familiarity too, and then that's the thing, having a guy come from Tennessee with you, okay, I know what to expect from him, could work him into the system. I mean, it's hard because you're trying to get to know everybody when you get to a new program, so having a little bit of that familiarity, I'm sure helps.
No doubt, no doubt. The continuity with the head coach is huge.
Okay. Players are ready. We're going to join them now and hear from them. We're going to head it on over to Drew Dickerson, who's going to field questions from the media. First, Schwartz and Aduro.
Thank you, Mike. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Media Days. Our first question is from Wayne Epps from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Wayne, go ahead, please.
Hey, guys, good morning. Josh, I want to ask you, what were kind of the biggest things that sold you on coming back to this program with Coach English, and what has stood out the most to you about what he's brought to this program to this point?
There's been a lot of things. First off, I would say the mentality that he wants for his program. We get it in every day. We work out a lot. He's really big on player development. And I would also say the guys that he's bringing in and the culture that he's cultivating is somewhere that I want to play, somewhere I want to get better, and somewhere that I'm challenged to get better myself every single day. And he's really big on forming connections, and he's a really good player coach.
All right, guys, the next question is from Marcus Washington from Making the Cut. Marcus, go ahead, please.
Hey, Josh, this is for you. You grew up here in the DMV, and you've grown a lot. You're on your second coach. Can you talk a little bit about the things you've grown from the time you stepped on George Mason's campus to where you are coming into this season?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Whether just my basketball IQ, learning how to play the game better every single day, or learning how to take care of my body. I've lost a lot of body fat and put on some muscle since I got here as a freshman. And like I said earlier, I just want to continue to get better every single day.
All right, gentlemen, the next question is from Daniel Frank from A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Doing well. So there's been a lot of external talk about the expectations for this team, how high your ceiling might be or might not be. Internally for you guys as a team and as a unit, what are you guys thinking are your expectations or your goals for this season?
I mean, for us, we're just trying to take everything one day at a time, one practice at a time, trying not to look too far ahead into what can come about this season. Obviously, we have our goals, but we're not trying to look too far ahead because we know every day matters.
All right. The next question is from Aaron Robinson from All Facts Media. Aaron, go ahead, please.
Deshaun, for you, obviously you were with Kim at Colorado. You're now with him, obviously, in his first head coaching stint here at George Mason. I mean, what have been the differences, obviously, with him coming from Colorado to here that you've noticed? And then also, I mean, what really sold you on, wanting to come here? I'm sure you had a bunch of other probably higher level schools that were coming after you. So what made you want to come with Kim here to George Mason?
Yeah, so obviously Kim coming from, the coaching tree of Coach Boyle, being there for 2 years, I definitely see some similarities in how he runs this program. Obviously, a lot of emphasis on defensive rebounding, certain drills that we do in practice, the way he sets up practices, there's some similarities there. And, overall, just wanting to come here, I knew we had a good group of guys coming in. We could do something special with the talent he was bringing in, obviously getting Josh back, Devontae Gaines, Davon Cooper, and some returning guys as well that I thought were great pieces that we could get a chance to win some games, win some big games. And obviously scheduling, all that type of stuff played into it. But, a big time factor for me was just having that prior relationship with Coach English.
All right, gentlemen, the last question for you all is from Jake Rome from WDVM TV. Jake, go ahead, please.
Hi, guys. How you doing? I'm going to start with Josh. We talked chemistry the last time I talked to you specifically. With the new guys coming in, with the old guys that are still there, including yourself. Just how has that kind of gone so far? Now that we're getting closer to the regular season, and then Deshaun, on your side, coming in, being a transfer, how has that chemistry gone with the guys that have been here, welding wise?
I would say we're gelling well. I mean, just from the way that coach has constructed the team, all the pieces fit together pretty well on the court. But to speak more off the court, we all have really good personalities that match each other. We have a really good group of guys. There's no selfish people on this team, and I think we got a good group of brothers here.
Yeah, for sure. I think, we all have a common goal in mind, and we're all working towards that. And off the court, we're getting closer every day. We live with each other, and, we're building those bonds every day. And, I could just see the trend moving upward.
Guys, thanks so much. All the best this season. We'll catch you down the road soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for George Mason on the men's side. Now let's go over to the women's side. Vanessa Blair-Lewis, now in her first season as the head coach for George Mason women's basketball. Julianne Vianney-Brain back with us here. Obviously, no place to go right now but up for them. Okay, 3 wins last year. There's no secret. Didn't win a game in the conference. Where do you see George Mason now and what they have to do under the new head coach?
Well, they couldn't have hired a better person. Coach Blair Lewis just comes from a winning program. I mean, she did it at Bethune-Cookman. They did not have a winning program for a number of years. And then she suddenly brought them to a lot of championships. I mean, 4-time MEAC Coach of the Year right there. 4 MEAC championships. She's certainly no stranger to turning programs around and being a winning school. So I think that it's all about her this season and really having to bring about the chemistry. We've been talking about this. It's kind of a reoccurring theme, is how long will it take for her to get the program under her thumb and under her way? Well, she's got a mix of veterans and transfers that are hungry to really return to the floor and start anew this season. But it should be exciting to watch because, yeah, you said it. They can only go up here.
Yeah, well, and she brings a couple of players that she's familiar with, right? From her team at Bethune-Cookman, you see there, and Scott and Adams. So that's going to help the cause. And you have to take your time. You got to figure it out. You got to get your mesh of players together. And I'm sure she's going to be able to do that. But you're right there, Julianne. I mean, again, it's a lot. It's asking a lot. And how is it all going to come together? We're going to have to see.
Yeah, and she's back in her hometown. She's back to her roots, and I think that that's really important to her too. So now she's home, she's comfortable. The recruiting in that area to me is a hotbed. I mean, she's back in the Virginia, the DC area. She'll be able to really kind of go out and find people that she knows and she's familiar with. She's gained such a resume. I think that she'll do a really great job in that area. So I look forward to seeing what she does with that program. They're going to be a hardworking team. That they're going to be well coached, and she did bring some familiarity to her which was very, I think, wise on her part.
Yeah, former coach of Mount St. Mary's, and as you said, with Bethune-Cookman, took them to their first ever NCAA tournament back in 2019. They didn't play last year because of the pandemic. The season was canceled, so that had to be tough, obviously. And now back finally coaching. She probably can't wait to get back out on the court. Here's a look at some of the key non-conference games early for George Mason.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech, no surprise here that these are not going to be easy games for them. I mean, they're all going to be difficult. Florida's on the schedule. Bucknell has always been a tremendous program that has made it to top charts. So I'd like to see how they do. I mean, these are going to be early tests for George Mason. They've got a couple of players. They've got Corpinen back, who I think she'll be really happy to have. Some couple of leaders that will lead the way for them. But, they only play one game at home before December 1st. So not a lot of home games early on. So it should be a good test for them.
All right, Vanessa Blair-Lewis is ready. She's joining us now. Coach, thanks so much. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Good.
Hey, Coach Julianne Vianney-Brain here from the A10 studio. Great to meet you. Great to see you. New program, I mean, new ways, new culture. How has it been for you just adjusting back to your hometown roots? What's it been like for you?
Oh, it's been exciting. Just being able to get back to the DMV, a place just so rich in just the tradition of basketball, especially for me and my family, and just how I've grown up. Just being able to come back here to take over George Mason University has been phenomenal in and of itself.
Coach Lewis, good morning. I am Drew Dickerson with the Atlantic 10 on the communications side. We got some questions for you from the media, but first I want to welcome you to the A10, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Daniel Frank from A10 Talk to start us off. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing well, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing well. Always good to talk to you again. The last time that we spoke was the open practice at Eagle Bank Arena back in mid-September. How do you guys think that you have improved and grown since then? And then how healthy is your roster heading into this season? I know at that practice, there were a couple of players who were missing.
Yeah, well, I think in the beginning of any season, you're going to have those bumps and bruises, and we're surely taking ours right now, just some minor things. All players, will be returning. But since you saw us in that open practice, we've just been grasping onto new ideas, some new for some of the players who came with me from Bethune-Cookman, not so much new, and so they've been helpful, with the other players, just getting them on board. But it's been very engaging, a lot of questions, a lot of hard work.
All right, Coach, next question is from Aaron Robinson from All Facts Media. Aaron, go ahead, please.
Coach, first and foremost, want to congratulate you as somebody who played in the MEAC. It's great to see a MEAC coach that got another opportunity. One thing that's kind of been a topic of conversation on the men's side is that there hasn't been a men's MEAC coach that has gotten another job in another conference that has been African American. Obviously, Ryan Ritter, who coached at Bethune, was able to get the job at UT Martin, but obviously he's Caucasian. For you to be an African American coach, coaching the MEAC, to be able to have opportunity to come and get a job at an A10 institution. What has that meant to you? And, you know, just to be in the position that you are now, having, you know, grown up in the area, coaching the MEAC for so long, had the success that you had, obviously also coached at Mount St. Mary's, but kind of coming full circle, being an African-American woman in this seat, you know, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. You know, I think representation matters. And so to be able to represent not just, you know, girls basketball, women's basketball, but the African-American community, it definitely means a lot. But basketball is basketball. You know, I came from a PWI to an HBCU and back to a PWI, and it's still basketball. You know, we still have young athletes that we have to pour into their lives for the rest of their lives. And so it's an exciting opportunity. It's another opportunity to grow and build something that we believe is going to be really big.
All right, Coach, the next question is from Jake Rome, WDVM TV. Jake, go ahead, please.
Hey, good. Hey, Coach, good to talk to you again. You kind of have a same scenario here at George Mason that you had at Bethune-Cookman when you showed up, kind of taking a team that, you know, didn't have a lot of success, making them into a successful program. What is the key to do that here at George Mason?
Well, you're right. You know, it definitely sounds and feels similar. You know, we took over a program that, you know, at Bethune-Cookman that was in last place, and we're doing that here now. But, you know, I think it is pretty much the same, just like you said. But I think the difference is for us right now, we sit in a hotbed of talent in the DMV, and all of my rosters on every program that I coached, every level, you know, had players that came from the DMV, and we recognize how important that talent is to stay at home. But on the other regard, you know, I just think that our players right now they're poised to want to do something different. And COVID year hit everybody last year differently. Some didn't have a season like us. Some had a season and had a lot of stops and starts. But you know, this team, this program, these young women, you know, they're poised to do some really good things this year. And their heart is in the right place. Their drive and their desire and the potential for us to do really good things is right there within our grasp.
Coach Julianne Vianney-Brain here from the A10 studio. What would you say you'd like for everybody watching you guys this year to see in terms of your identity? What kind of identity do you want your program to be this year?
Well, our identity for years has been on the defensive end. We were ranked in the top 1 and 2 in the country for defense with the style of defense that we play. And so that's going to be a trademark for us here. You know, that's how we're going to get ourselves out of, you know, the bottom of the pack and push our way towards the top to be able to compete with these great teams. We've got to be able to stop somebody, and defense has always been our identity.
Coach, thanks again for your time this morning. We appreciate it, and all the best to you this season.
Thank you so much.
All right, you got it. Well, Julianne, it was kind of what you were just talking about there, right? What you talked about earlier, defense. You got to come in, you got to play strong defense, right? There has to be a push for that, and certainly, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw her interview too in the summer, and it was all about. It was not just about the defense, but it was about the hardworking, blue-collar mentality that I think she will also bring to this program. And but yeah, it always starts on the defensive end. To me, defense always leads to your offense. It really sparks the offensive flow. Offense has gotten all the glory and all the fun. Of course, you want to be a team that can score as well and play up tempo, but it all starts on the other end because that's what creates the opportunity. So I am excited to see what she's able to do with this group. It's not an easy thing to come in and take over a program where you don't know everyone, but she brought some players, like we said, with her, and she's working her way in. She's familiar with the area, and it should be interesting to see.
Well, and her and Kim English are going to be learning together, right? I mean, you know, sometimes you have a men's coach or a women's coach, vice versa, to kind of, you know, play off of and learn a little bit about what it's like at that school. No, they're both going to be learning it together this year.
And I think too, like what Kim English said, you know, your identity kind of comes as you go. You don't necessarily know exactly what your identity is going to be when you come as a new coach. You just have to be humble and open to the fact that that may change. You might get different recruits at that particular school. You might change some of your philosophy. So to be open to that, I think both of these coaches are that way. And you see that just in how you talk to them, because they're open to changing things.
Maya Scott is with us alongside of Jordan Wakefield. Scott follows coach from Bethune-Cookman, and they're both ready right now, and they're standing by with Drew.
Maya Jordan, good morning. Welcome to A10 Media Days. Our first question from the media for you all is from Daniel Frank from A10 Talk. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Good morning, ladies. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. So obviously you all have a very unique situation with Amaya, you coming from Bethune-Cookman with Coach Blair Lewis, and then Jordan, you having been at Mason previously. What for both of you has been the biggest learning process over the course of this summer, working through the practices in the fall, leading up to this season, meshing all the pieces together?
Just bringing in new teammates with Coach Blair. She brought in a lot of great players with this program, and just getting to learn the new culture, getting to learn all the new plays is just a really great experience. A lot of learning, a lot of growth, but just really excited for the future.
Just to piggyback off what Jordan said, it's just more of readjusting to a new program and getting to know these wonderful teammates that I have and helping them along the way, as Coach Blair said.
All right, ladies, we'll go to Jake Rome from WDVM TV for the next question. Jake, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my big question is just, George Mason last year, winless in the A10. A big thing about conference play, that's the most important part of the season, is winning those games. What are some things that, Coach is doing to get you guys ready to win these games this year, to win those games in the Atlantic 10 Conference?
Like Coach said, we need to be able to defend everybody in the A10. So really just focusing on defense, focusing on keeping people in front of us. So defense is really a big thing for winning games in the A10 and just getting more wins under the win column.
Like Coach Blair said, this is a defensive team. There's not going to be games where we're always scoring 70+ points. So sometimes we do have to win off defense.
And all the best this season. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps up George Mason women's basketball, and let's bring back in Julianne here for a moment. I want to get your take so far on